Have you ever been part of a group decision that just felt off? Where everyone seems perfectly reasonable, but the final outcome makes zero sense? Well, you've just stumbled into the bizarre world of voting paradoxes. And trust me, the rabbit hole goes deep.
So, let me ask you this. Does it sound possible that a group's favorite option could end up losing an election? It sounds completely backward, right? But this isn't some trick question. It's a very real and kind of common quirk in how we make decisions. And we're going to break down exactly how it can happen. All right, let's set the stage with something super simple. Imagine we have just 3 voters and 3 options to choose from, A, B, and C. Each voter has their own clear, rational preference. Voter 1 wants A, then B, then C. Voter 2 wants B, then C, then A. And voter 3 goes for C, then A, then B. Looks pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. Let's see what happens when they actually try to decide on a winner. We'll do it the simple way, majority rules with head-to-head matchups. First up on the ballot, it's A versus B. Let's look at our table and see who wins this round. Okay, voter 1 obviously picks A. And voter 3? Well, while C is their favorite, they still prefer A over B. So that's 2 votes for A, only 1 for B. A wins. Easy enough. All right, next round. B versus C. Voter 1 prefers B to C, and B is voter 2's top choice. So that's another clean 2-1 win, this time for B. So far, so good, right? We have A is better than B, and B is better than C. It seems pretty obvious that A should be the overall winner, right? But hold on. For our final matchup, it's C versus A. And wait a second. Voter 2 prefers C over A, and C is voter 3's #1 pick. C beats A 2 votes to 1. And this is where things start to feel really weird. So what just happened? Well, we've just fallen headfirst into a classic voting paradox, a perfect logical loop that just completely breaks our common sense.
Just think about it for a second. The group as a whole decided A is better than B, and they decided B is better than C. But then they also decided that C is better than A. It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors where there's no clear winner. It's just an endless, irrational cycle. And yeah, there's a name for this weirdness. It's called Condorcet's paradox. And it's so wild because it shows that a group of totally rational people with perfectly logical preferences can come together and make a completely irrational collective decision. The so-called will of the people can literally be a contradiction. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's just a weird quirk of that one particular voting method. But what if I told you the problem is way, way bigger than that? What if every single voting system is flawed? And that brings us to this huge, groundbreaking idea called Arrow's Impossibility Theorem. It's a flat-out mathematical proof that basically says there is no such thing as a perfect voting system. You can't design a system that checks all the boxes for what we'd consider fair. It's mathematically impossible.
The big takeaway here is absolutely massive. Every system, whether it's a simple majority, an electoral college, ranked choice, you name it, has a potential flaw, a crack in its logic, a back door for a strange or unfair result to sneak through. It's not a bug, it's a feature of group decision-making. So if we know that every single system is flawed, how does that change how we act as voters? Well, it kind of forces us to think less about our perfect choice and more about the practical one.
I mean, this is the dilemma, right? If you know voting for your actual favorite candidate might accidentally help the candidate you hate the most get elected, what do? Do you stick to your guns, or do you play the game to get a result you can live with? And that's where we get this idea of strategic voting. It's when you consciously vote for a candidate who isn't your #1 choice because you think they have a better shot at winning and can block an outcome you really, really don't want. Let me show you a really common example of how this plays out in the real world. Imagine a first-past-the-post election. The rules are simple. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Party A has a small lead. Party B is right behind. And Party C is way back in third. Now, let's say your favorite is Party C, but you really can't stand Party A. You know that a vote for C, while it's your honest preference, probably isn't going anywhere.
you start thinking it might be a wasted vote that just splits the opposition and lets Party A win. So what do? You hold your nose and vote for Party B, your second choice, just to make sure Party A doesn't get in. This kind of calculation happens all the time in multi-party systems, like in India. And look, this is why this stuff actually matters. These paradoxes aren't just some nerdy thought experiment. They actively shape the world around us every single day. Seriously, you see these dynamics everywhere. They're in play when a corporate board is picking a new CEO, when your local government is voting on a budget, or heck, even when you and your friends are trying to figure out where to order dinner from. And this uncovers one of the most powerful, kind of hidden forces in any group decision: agenda control. Remember our A, B, and C example? The person who gets to decide the order of the votes, whether you vote on A versus B first or C versus A first, can literally rig the game to get the outcome they want. There's this quote that just nails it. Procedural choices embed strategic advantages. What it means is the rules of the game are never neutral. They are always packed with hidden power that can give one side a huge leg up before anyone even casts a vote. So think about that. The most influential person in the room isn't always the one with the loudest voice or the most supporters. It's often the person who writes the ballot. The one who sets the agenda can steer the whole group towards their goal, all while making it look perfectly democratic. And so, I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're in any kind of vote, big or small, think about it. In a world of imperfect systems and tough choices, are you just stating your honest preference? Or are you, consciously or not, playing the game? Something to think about.